Roman Reigns loses his
Well,
last
wait
WWE.
a second. It's been very hyperbolic with what's been going on recently with Roman Reigns. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our WrestleMania Backlash What Went Down video. Apologies for that weird introduction there. Basically, there's only two of us in the office, and we're still trying to work out the technology. But regardless, we are here to tell you what went down. WrestleMania Backlash 2022 has just finished. And I got to say, all in all, Michael Hambler, I was pleasantly surprised by that show.
Yeah. For a 6-match card that was, 4 rematches and feeling fairly undercooked on the road to it. WWE premium live events, don't want to call them pay-per-views anymore, don't feel quite premium, but they do at least feel like an event. And I guess it was live, so technically 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It was just a show on paper, and they got something more of it in person and in practice.
Yeah, let's run through it then. Let's start at the beginning of the night. This show opened with a rematch. Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. Look, this was never going to live up to the original match they had at WrestleMania 38, of course. But I thought they told a really intriguing story. Cody Rhodes got the win again, but Seth Rollins was far more improved this time because he's learnt from their previous encounter at Mania.
Yeah, I kind of love this, you know. It never betrayed that story right from the beginning to the end. It's WWE, so it's always on the nose. Seth Rollins is big on saying, I know who it is this time. He's wearing the same gear as last time. He wants to replicate all the circumstances, but with the one key difference that he knows it's Cody. So he's done his homework. He's studied everything. Counter, 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 counter. Right through at the point where Cody was trying to wipe him out and finish him off with the crossroads after Seth had invoked Dusty Rhodes. He'd gone for the flip, flop and fly, and that was Cody's, as it is, like that kind of trigger point for him to be like, no, enough. But even then, Seth still had the counter. Counter, counter, counter. Seth counters into a pull in the tights, sort of cheating roll up, and Cody counters that into one of his own, and that's the one thing Seth Rollins couldn't have predicted, that Cody would be able to go low just when he thought he would only stay high. I really admire the finish. What I admire the most is the grift on the pair of them to wrestle such a competitive match with such a different story that if the cheeky gets one to go back for round 3, I think I might be there for it.
I'm more than happy to watch these two take it to Hell in a Cell, if I'm perfectly honest. And a really great way to start the show. I think they structured this card actually really nicely in terms of that. It was followed by another rematch, Omos versus Bobby Lashley, with another development off the back of WrestleMania, which this time was MVP being involved, being in Omos' corner. Look, they did a similar match to what happened at WrestleMania, and that very much has a ceiling, doesn't it? But in terms of the finish and MVP getting involved and twatting in with the cane, at least, you know, you got the result that we all anticipated. Omos gets the win this time, but we're not without shenanigans.
Yeah, Omos is banging his head on that quality ceiling. It's not just because he's 20 foot tall, is it? It's because it's pretty low. Yeah, it'd be generous to give this match a pass for me just because of the development. Yes, we got the development. And yes, I think people want MVP and Lashley more than they did, or at least the same as they did.
Yeah.
But enduring another match to get there, I'm not sure. Beating Bobby Lashley, I'm even less sure because winners count for a lot in WWE now. Wasn't good. Look, it wasn't great. Omos' execution there's a limit to what he can realistically achieve. Bobby Lashley worked.
Did everything, didn't he?
As hard as he did in the WrestleMania match, he kind of gets to play a smaller guy. How often does Bobby Lashley
slammed bloody Omos down?
Yeah, there was a couple of moments like that where you're getting to see him. He brought him down with a hurt lock, didn't he? And kind of like they tried to tease out a finish there.
Tied him up in the ropes at one point.
It was never more than basic, and sometimes it didn't live up to that. It was to be fair, it was the one duffer on the whole card, I think. And they kind of knew it was going to be there. Get MVP in a shark cage.
That's all we want to see, really.
Second match in a row, that was a rematch that we're somehow calling for the rubber match.
Let's move on to Edge versus AJ Styles, where Damian Priest, of course, was banned from ringside, which, as we all know, is a line at the end of the ramp. And if you get beaten up into ringside, that's still okay.
I've watched wrestling for 32 years, and if there's one thing I know about the tenets of pro wrestling, the pillars, is that piece of masking tape between the ramp with a bit of safety mat and the safety mat next to the ring, that's ringside.
It might be as well be a million miles away.
If people aren't clear on that, that's on them. IMO.
But in terms of the match, this for me was light years away from what happened at WrestleMania. We were not fans of it at WrestleMania 38. It got "This is awesome" chant at Mania, and you and I looked at each other apoplectic with what we were seeing. But this was a vast improvement. They started off hot. They just started twatting each other. Edge once again targeted AJ's shoulder. And once again, it appeared that maybe AJ had the upper hand. Damian Priest appeared, but again, didn't go technically into ringside until Finn Balor jumped him, and they sort of rolled through the ring and just fought off, basically. And then a hooded figure tripped AJ Styles as he was setting up to come off the top. And that, as a result, led to Edge, I suppose, technically submitting AJ Styles. He just sort of passed out in the crossface, effectively. And then it was revealed that the newest member of Judgment Day is Rhea Ripley, and she's got black hair. I love this.
Well, yeah, at least it wasn't blue, I suppose. Pretty great. Can't really disagree with too much of that. The match was so vastly superior, I almost can't believe they had a bad one to begin with.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that suggested that a stadium setting might not be the place for this. But a smaller venue, I think it needed the violence. I think it was badly lacking that. The two of them attempting to have a wrestling match was getting them nowhere at WrestleMania, and I hear it just felt so much more all action. And the Rhea Ripley twist was great. We've not been kind to Judgment Day, to Edge's delivery of some of this stuff, but there was I think we both shared the sentiment that adding Rhea Ripley and potentially other people to this group was going to enhance the whole thing, and immediately it felt great. You could sense that a lot of people were very, very there for Rhea Ripley being a part of it. You could tell, mask aside, you could tell it was Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
You could tell it wasn't Ciampa, so then you were, our basic detective work was leading us to believe it was going to be a Rhea Ripley. So I think not only was the match itself extremely satisfying, and again, I'm going to say this for the third time, a rematch that almost made you care about a rematch somehow, but it provided this fresh coat of paint for Rhea Ripley and something new in their group's presentation on Raw. I still think they'll be super cheesy. I still think us people aren't owed an explanation. They'll do all those tricks. But I think people invest in Rhea Ripley. I think she presents a brand spanking new threat to Bianca Belair and the rest of the women's division as the female representative, Judgment Day. So again, like across the board, as with the opener, just all ticks. All tick, 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 tick. Zero complaints here. Finn Balor as AJ Styles' mate is so crucial to this whole thing as well, because it just makes him feel like less of a loner and a loser. He's got people that want to help him fight his fight. So if nothing else now, that opens the door for a female to counterbalance Rhea Ripley as well. Like, this opens up avenues rather than closing them.
And the final rematch of the night came next. It was Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship, an I Quit match. Match of the night for me.
Yeah, agreed.
And they really took that stipulation around with it. They beat the piss out of each other here.
Yeah. We were, it would seem, generous to Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, partly based on our proximity of being in the building in Dallas.
We thought it was a fair bit of a scrap at WrestleMania.
That's how it felt, but obviously it didn't really come across that way. We accepted our role in the minority. I don't think that was the case this time around.
No one's watching this and going,
could really lay it in a bit more. These just beat the dog out of each other. It wasn't, I wouldn't sort of class it as this psychological masterpiece, but they hit so hard with everything, and there was a desperation that flowed through that. So it was Ronda's best performance across the board since she's returned to WWE. It was nice to get a feeling of the old Ronda Rousey back. Charlotte Flair was going for it, taking what we assume now based on the reports later on about the broken arm. Some much needed time off for that character, and probably Charlotte, the performer, as well, to take a bit of a rest. Ronda going all in with some of those wicked kendo stick shots. They teased, when we talked about this, if you want to go back and watch us on the live stream, you can find that on YouTube, but we talked about this awesome tease in the match where Ronda was hanging upside down off the top rope, off the side of the ring with an armbar, and Charlotte managed to just force the pair of them through. So the problem then became, well, how do you come up with a better finish? And what a finish they nailed. Ronda Rousey pulling Charlotte through a chair after Charlotte had invoked her daughter or son. I forget.
Well, she said,
Happy Mother's Day.
Are you going to quit? Happy Mother's Day.
And then Rousey wrenches on the arm. Charlotte stubbornly won't quit. So Ronda was glad of it.
Do you quit? No, I don't quit. I'm glad you said that, bitch.
Double twist.
Oh!
Pretzel arm. Immediate quit. Great.
Fantastic. They brawled into the crowds. They brawled through the audience. There was the spot on the stairs with Ronda contorted in the banister or whatever it's called.
Cuts and bruises.
Oh.
Ugly marks everywhere.
That's an I Quit match, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
There's still a little bit too much of a you quit and the we want tables. Shut up. Enjoy the match. Match of the night. Brilliant stuff. Ronda Rousey is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Then we got Madcap Moss taking on his former friend, Happy Corbin. And, I mean, it was a TV match, and it went exactly the way that we anticipated, is the best I can say about it.
Yeah, relatively short, so not to expose either of them, and not a bad thing, not agented all that bad. Madcap Moss continues to show potential.
Speed.
Super speed, super dynamic for a guy his size, which I think is obviously going to bode well for him, that he's a bit of a hybrid sort of guy. I'm not seeing yet from Madcap Moss that one in-ring spark that is making me think, yes, main eventer, but I'm willing to watch him find it, and I'm willing to watch him develop it because of what he already brings. Baron Corbin was a good base for his old mate here. I thought he doesn't do a lot, Corbin, but sometimes it's worth watching what he does extract from these people when he's inevitably on the losing end or he's just the other person in a feud, which he so often is. The one criticism I have over this is so Madcap Moss wins clean with a wrestling hold, a sunset flip, which I came up with 2 separate pun names to suggest that they might turn this into one of his finishers. And yet, Baron Corbin, because of the nature of that, it was as if he tripped on a banana skin. It's not. The same with backslides.
Yeah.
You know, roll-ups, however you want to...
Oh, I see. We're wrestling now, aren't we?
Wrestling moves are valid ways to beat people. So the fact that he used a sunset flip was the implication was that Baron Corbin's got to find it, or Happy Corbin's got to find him again on SmackDown to level this and level the field. It's probably not over, unfortunately. But they far from embarrass themselves, and especially in terms of Madcap Moss. I think the project continues unabated.
And then the main event was a match with nothing on the line. The Bloodline versus RK-Bro and Drew McIntyre. Of course, this used to be the Usos versus RK-Bro for the tag titles, and then it got changed into this weird 6-man. And I think, to be fair, a lot of us, myself included, watch this match with sort of arms folded, of like, go on then, make this better than a bang-up match on SmackDown or Raw. And I think with that ending, they managed to achieve it. For a large part, I thought, why on earth did they not put the I Quit match on that? And I still probably think that they should have, because it was the best match.
Yeah.
But with the conclusion, with the wildness of all this, of Roman Reigns getting RKO'd and Riddle hitting an RK off the top rope and Drew McIntyre getting rock bottom through a table. Yeah, I got into this by the end. It really hooked me in.
Yeah.
It was like a bit of a house show match initially of like, oh, do you want Roman in? Psych, I'm not really coming in. I'm getting out and not fighting Drew McIntyre. He's scared of him.
You started this by saying that there was nothing on the line, but it was as if nobody told the wrestlers. So it was being fought as if they were fighting for their lives, and fair enough, because the W used to sometimes be enough. Like, we were as gutted as fans that there was no titles on the line. It felt a bit free of stakes and purpose. But the wrestlers should be going out there trying to get the winner's purse and compete and theoretically get a W over Roman Reigns. That puts you in line for a title shot. If you're RK-Bro, you wanted to believe that you were going to beat the Usos to unify the titles. So there becomes a challenge for the babyfaces to try and overcome. And then the heels are so strong, not just Roman as the top guy, as the tribal chief, as the head of the table, but the Bloodline as a unit that are able to look out for each other, the telepathy between the Usos, that this is a mountain for the babyfaces to climb. And I thought by the end, they totally presented that as well.
Roman got Claymored too.
Roman took a Claymore. As you say, Roman was at points selling a little bit of intimidation from Drew until the fight was on, and then he realised that he had to kind of like buckle up for this. He's going to be in this probably for the long haul for the summer now. I really admired the structuring. There was not too long spent on the the headlocks, the takedowns, the teasers of the early doors before we got to just an all-action sequence that coolly took Randy Orton out of his typical hot tag spot to give it to Drew McIntyre, to then give it back to Randy when Drew was the one getting beaten down. So you got to extract the same pop twice, effectively, only then for Riddle, of all people, to be the one to come back and almost get it done for the baby faces with that top rope RKO hit at the end. Like, everybody got shine in this match. Everybody took an absolute pasting. Roman got...
Randy just no-sold the super kick at one point. Okay.
Oh,
anyway.
man. Like, a really cool set of no-sells. Roman got the win, which again validates all the stuff he says, all the big gesturing that he does, which is why these wins, these endless wins, are ultimately quite important for this character. But for the umpteenth time on this episode, I don't really feel like I've seen all of... I don't really feel full of this feud. I think the babyfaces are going to get one more go. And it feels as if you're going to get these split programs. Drew's going to get something in the summer with Roman. This was about as effective as a match as I think it could have possibly been, all things considered.
Once again, it seems like damning with faint praise, but a real pleasant surprise, this premium live event, in terms of the fact that we went in going 6 matches and that's it. You're not going to chuck anything else on. You're not going to put, Bianca Belair in there, who I'm sort of sure would have had a sensational match if she'd been involved, or tag title stuff, whatever it may be. No, it's finished at a reasonable time. It was just a good, fun night. They could have done a lot more, without question. But that is a conversation for a different time. If we're assessing what went down, I really enjoyed this. But let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from. Myself and Michael Havlet are going to be talking in more detail about this show in just a short while too. You can let us know your thoughts as well on Twitter and send us your Twitter questions for the news in, just a few hours at WhatCulture WWE. Or actually, follow both of us. You can follow Michael Havlet at
Michael Hamflet.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said. And now the awkward moment at the end of what went down. Thanks for joining us, where I run off camera and Michael Hamflet wraps up and I try and work out how to work the equipment. Bye, everyone. Hamflet, what did you think of WrestleMania Backlash once more?
I really quite like WrestleMania Backlash. I won't do any more sort of cheap plugs for all our other great podcasts and videos. I'm plugging anyway. But yes, follow us along at WhatCulture WWE. Like, share, subscribe, download the podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we will see you soon.